What is going on, everyone? We're going to have a little bit of fun today and rank some Panini basketball products. If you've seen, other content creators on YouTube do this in the past, you'll know exactly what we're in for. We're basically going to rank each of the products to different tiers and have a bit of fun. You guys can sort of crap on me and basically say I've put something in the wrong spot and all that sort of thing, but I thought this would be a good way to have some fun and get some discourse going in the comment section. Now, I will say this, I'm not going to rank these based on the price of the products or anything like that, busting it. This is purely off of the back of buying singles, right? Buying it from a collector's perspective. So I'm going to rank the product and go from there. Now, if you guys do like this, I'd like to do it for soccer and football product as well. Maybe even, YouTube content creators do some TCG stuff. We can do one of these a week or every now and then, but I've wanted to do this for quite some time. And I know others have done this in the past for sports cards specifically, but I thought we could have a bit of fun, especially while I'm away in China. We can use this to fill some of the content, but I hope you guys like it because this should be a bit of fun. Now, you guys will know straight off the bat that Flawless I'm obsessed with when it comes to soccer. So it's clearly in eBay 1 of 1. And I should have quickly mentioned the tier rankings, eBay 1 of 1 being the best of the best, i.e. a bit of a play on words because it is the greatest gift to God's earth. That is eBay 1 of 1s. And then the worst being card porn itself. Now, if you guys want to rename some of these, let me know down in the comments what we should rename them to. I was sort of tossing up eBay 1 of 1s being called Will Greer. But again, let me know down below and we can always play around with that. But Flawless Soccer is my favorite set of all time. I just really like the look of Flawless cards. I think they are, a very timeless design. And I think the earlier years are obviously better just based on, checklists and the fact that, game use stuff is guaranteed to be in there and all that kind of thing. But that's where it needs to be for me because I love those kinds of things. I think it's just a fantastic, looking set. Next on the list is Origin. I don't know a whole lot about Origin. I don't think I've ever busted any Origin or anything like that. Or Origins, I should say. I'm going to put it in the meh category for that specific reason, but if you do like Origin, let me know. I don't think I own any singles from that set either, but again, it sort of is what it is. Surprisingly, I'm probably going to put Chronicles up there purely because I like the variety that you get in those sets. It's a really good way to sort of collect cards. You guys know I'm a collector first and foremost. I have binders full of cards. And Chronicles is a good way to get diverse, looking cards, but build out a collection too. And it's also incredibly affordable. And you also get a crap ton of rookies, which is always good fun for the people out there in the world. Prism I'll put as very good. I've never been a huge Prism fan, but I like some of the singles you can get from that set, obviously, which is why I've put it there. But I'm not somebody that's going to put it up there because, I feel like it's a little bit overrated these days. But again, I also think some of the recent year designs are pretty poor as well. I liked earlier Prism better, but it sort of is what it is. I'm probably going to put Revolution down here. I really don't like Revolution. I don't like the looks of their cards. Again, some of you guys might be huge fans, but for me, I just don't like the look of them. I've got some from breaks that I've bought into and things like that, but I just feel like they look a little bit cheap. And again, this is my opinion. Illusions I'll probably put in the good category. Again, I don't own any of it, but it's one of those. Maybe I'll put it down here actually. It's one of those sets from Panini that's sort of like, would I care if it doesn't exist? And I think everything below good is probably in that category, in my opinion. I'll put Immaculate in good. I know a lot of people love Immaculate, but from my perspective, some of the designs look pretty poor. I don't like the look of them. The earlier stuff, obviously, again, looks a lot better than the recent stuff, in my opinion. But I'm just not a huge fan. It feels like it's not quite NT. It's not quite flawless in terms of how clean it looks. And whilst it is still high-end, it doesn't scratch that itch for me. Now, again, you guys might think I'm an idiot, but that's sort of where my mind goes. I'm actually going to put Mosaic in meh. I hate the look of Mosaic. I'm not a huge fan of it at all. I feel like I've said those 3 words, many times. Again, it just seems like too busy to me. It's just one of those sets that sort of doesn't really work. I'll put Don Russ in the good section because I've busted a lot of Don Russ soccer to be very, very specific. It doesn't do a whole lot for me, but it's one of those sets that just reminds me of being a kid just because it's sort of like a timeless, very basic looking design, and it's a set again that you can have a lot of fun with, and often you find that the singles are quite affordable. NT I'll put in the very good category. I'm not a huge fan of NT. Again, I'll say those words, especially in recent years, because I'm pretty sure it's not really game worn that often anymore. But again, it goes back to like between Flawless and NT. If I'm going to buy a single and they're comparable prices, I'm always going to pick Flawless because I think that design looks a little bit better. And NT is sort of like almost there. Now, some of you guys will say, well, NT is considered the true RPA and all that kind of thing. But again, that doesn't do a whole lot for me personally with how I like to collect. But some of you guys might say otherwise. I'm not going to obviously say no to an NT card, but I think it's probably overinflated at the moment. And I think it doesn't look as good as Flawless in my opinion. I feel like they're comparing each other, or competing with each other, I should say. So from my perspective, Flawless is the way to go. Noir, it's probably a toss-up between these two because some years I think it's a fantastic design. I really love the gold ink. Not sure if they still do it in the current years. I need to double check that, but it's sort of floating around. It has a bit of nostalgia to me because I busted a lot in 2013-14 and 14-15, I think it was, via breaks. Whatever Julius Randle's rookie was, I think was the year I busted a lot of that via breaks. I couldn't afford it myself, obviously, but again, it probably holds that special place in my heart. So it's probably in the very good tier in my opinion, but it sort of is what it is. Now, Obsidian I'm going to put in the card pawn section purely because Josh Giddey's in that photo and he's a bit of a scumbag at the moment. I'm not a bit of a scumbag. He's a piece of shit if those allegations are obviously true. And I hope he gets the book thrown at him and all that kind of thing. But again, Obsidian is a nice looking set. Some of the cards look fantastic. Some of them, again, look too busy. Similar to Mosaic and similar to Revolution, I would not really care if I never saw an Obsidian card again. Now, a lot of people love them, but it sort of is what it is. Now, from a singles perspective, I really like Eminence. Now, I used to be a person that hated on Eminence a lot until I saw them in person. And I think, you know, Eminence to me, especially from, you know, the first year from a basketball perspective and then also 2018 first year for soccer, that is the pinnacle of collecting a card for me. And some people won't like how thick they look. Some people don't like the design, but I think the gold ink is so unique. I love the fact that it's game use stuff, and I love the patch windows in Eminence. You know, they're huge and there's so many different types, and some of them basically take up the whole card, which is, you know, really bloody rare these days. And again, I'm looking at it through the lens of soccer, and this is a basketball ranking product, so I should maybe reassess my mindset. But even from some of the first year, you know, basketball stuff, there's some Larry Birds that I'm trying to chase that, you know, maybe have a smaller patch window, but they just look really clean. And I feel like me, being somebody that loves on-card autos, loves low-numbered stuff, loves game-used memorabilia, especially of Hall of Famers and stuff like that, Eminence is the pinnacle. And it's actually not that expensive, some of these singles, as what you might think. I'd if I could pick, you know, a Larry Bird as an example, to use him as the example in this case, I'd pick Eminence above everything else if all the prices were comparable. And I don't think many would think the same way, because some of his Prism stuff sells for more than his patch autos in Eminence, in the first year Eminence, which I think is absolutely crazy to me. And I'm really keen to see what you guys have to say about that as well. Contenders Optic, I'm not a huge fan of. Some people love it. I feel like I've said I'm not a huge fan of how many times. I'm an idiot, guys. Bear with me. We just had a crazy ass storm here in Sydney, so I've had to, you know, record a video before this one. It cut out, blackout, all that kind of thing. So my mind's a bit rattled. But yeah, I don't really like it. Panini 1-1 goes in the card pawn category. I don't like those cards at all. Some people love them. I don't. Recon, again, in that section, because it is what it is. Don't need to really talk too much. Select, actually, is going to go in the eBay 1-of-1 tier, purely for Select 2013-14. Now, I know this is related to recent years of products, but my heart is still infatuated with Select. The fact that it used to be a hobby exclusive and the design was really timeless back in the day, the checkerboard cards, all that kind of thing. I think it's there for me. You guys won't like that because I think a lot of people hate on Select these days, but for me, that's what got me started when it comes to hobby boxes, like I've talked on this channel many, many times. Spectra, surprisingly, is probably going to be in the good to meh category. I'll put it in the good because that category is a bit slight in terms of size. I feel like it's another one of those sets that doesn't need to be there. I know people love Spectra, but doesn't need to be there. Probably not. I'm not sure what this set is. I'm assuming that is the champion sets that they release, or the sticker sets. I guess that is cool if you're a collector, so maybe we can put that in the very good section. Upper Deck, I don't know why Upper Deck's there, I don't know why Leaf's there, but let's put them both into the eBay 1-of-1s because the OG Upper Deck stuff is pretty cool. The Leaf stuff is also pretty damn awesome. People hate on Leaf, but some pretty cool cards in Leaf, in particular match worn stuff, which is cool. Elite, I don't think I've seen too much, so we'll probably put that in the meh category. Optic can basically go there because I'm not a huge fan. Panini Contenders Basketball, again, where can we put that? Probably in the good section. I like Chronicles better than Contenders. Yes, I know they're very different sets, but it is what it is. Court King, I'm not a huge fan of. I feel like I've said that how many freaking times now. They have those canvas cards, which are cool. but it doesn't really, do it for me. Crown Royale is probably in the meh category. Impeccable, again, some of the stuff looks freaking awesome. Some of the stuff looks terrible, but I'll probably put it in the meh category purely because, you've got things like NT, Eminence, Noir, Flawless, and I feel like, and Immaculate, and I feel like Impeccable is competing with those, but I'd rather have those than Impeccable. And NBA Hoops, I know a lot of people love this sort of stuff. I'll put it in the very good category purely because, you can get a lot of stuff for really cheap, and it's a cool looking timeless design, like I said, once again, and I can't get rid of these things. But it's just one of those things that I think is good to sort of buy if you want to build out, sets for binders and stuff like that. But maybe take a look at this. Let me know what your thoughts are, whether you think I've ranked anything incorrectly, but this is probably where I feel like these sets fit based on my mindset. Now, like I said, this was meant to be specific to basketball, but I think this sort of covers, most sets. So if you like this video, let me know. I'll probably do something similar for TCGs, and then I'll also do something, for other sports as well, if interested, and maybe even do it for content creators as well. So, I thought this was a bit of fun. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.